The 60th anniversary season for the ARCA Racing Series is underway. It's race number 7 from Pocono. The Pocono ARCA 200 about to get underway. Hello everyone, Rick Allen, Phil Parsons with you once again as we're getting ready for the 7th race of the season. One of the differences with Pocono Speedway this year is the fact that it's been repaved, and we are seeing incredible speeds already.
We certainly are. As a matter of fact, these speeds were so great that the ARCA officials decided to put a tapered spacer on these engines. That's going to knock about 100, 125 horsepower out of them. They would have had about 900, so now they're a little bit under 800. But still, with that, we still broke the track record by almost 3 miles an hour.
Now, with these increased speeds, does this have an advantage for an experienced driver or maybe someone who's just coming in and has a chance to win a race at Pocono?
I think this levels the playing field because people like Frank Kimmel knew where every bump was on this racetrack. The bumps are gone. It's relatively smooth. They did a great job paving this place. A lot of improvements. I think it's a level playing field, so there's no telling who's going to be up front at the end of this thing.
Well, we've got a difference of experience in our point standings after 6 races. Brennan Poole has been to victory lane, as has Chris Buescher and Alex Bowman, but those are the only 3 in the top 10 that have won a race this year.
Yeah, great battle. We have 5 cars right now, 5 drivers within 60 points. And remember, this is not the same point system that NASCAR uses. It's 200 points for a win, 5 points down per position.
Brennan Poole, not only a winner in the point standings up to this point, but also the pole winner of this race, Jim Trado.
And he did that in fine fashion today, and he did it 1 year ago, Rick. Brennan Poole comes in here with the point lead because he has 5 top 10 finishes in 6 races. His comfortability here at Pocono is rather strong. He and his crew chief, Billy Venturini, were fast in practice without making a mock run. That means he didn't go out just for a qualifying run to catch speed. They were very happy with the car. Very few changes on this car, and for the 4th time, it's an all Venturini front row. Brennan Poole brings in the point lead because of that victory last week, but keep an eye on Poole up front. I think he'll be there all day. Ray Dunlap.
You know, Jim, if you're looking for the future stars in NASCAR, all you have to do is look at the Pocono winners. As we look back through it, how about Justin Allgaier, Joey Logano, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Ty Dillon? These are all guys that are going to be racing in Cup soon. But then the last 12 races for ARCA here at this track, 12 different winners. And I also like the fact that when we look at 2012, it's been the same kind of thing. 6 races on the ARCA schedule, 6 different winners. So who could go to victory lane today and add their name to both of those lists? How about guys like Frank Kimmel? He hasn't won in 69 races. How about the 52 of Tommy Hessert? He's second in points, hasn't won yet. We've got other guys on that list like Chad Hockenbrough, Ryan Reed, and maybe Kevin Swindell. And oh, by the way, there's 20 other drivers in this race who think they ought to be on the list too.
Most definitely, Ray. Thank you very much. The field now moving out onto the racetrack. Today's coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs. And by the all-new Acura ILX. Move up without settling down. When we come back, the green flag flies. The first race on the newly repaved Pocono Raceway.
If there was any doubt who was in charge from the driver's seat in the mid to late 50s, it was made perfectly clear when Iggy Katona manhandled his way to consecutive titles in 55, 56, and 57. A product of the open-wheel midget and roadster era, Iggy Katona was built like a bull, and few from the era could out-wrestle him in a stock car match. With the victories mounting for a time, Katona seemed almost unbeatable. That was until Cincinnati, Ohio's Nelson Stacy stepped to the plate full-time in 1958. Stacy, who would eventually move on to the NASCAR ranks, strung 3 marked titles of his own together in 1958, 59, and 60. But after honing his stock car skills in the marked circuit of stars, Stacy steered for NASCAR while Katona carried on the marked torch. Returning to his glory, King Katona added yet another national title in 1962. But as arguably glad as Katona was to see his chief nemesis Nelson Stacy go, there was another eye-opener waiting for Katona when a newcomer by the name of Jack Bowser signed in through the back gate. And for the next 3 years, Katona found himself chasing the new kid on the block.
And we continue to celebrate the 60th anniversary season of the ARCA Racing Series. I was talking with Ron Drager, president of the series, earlier. He said back in 1969, Pocono invited the ARCA Racing Series to come here and race. Well, it wasn't a tricky triangle at that time. It was a dirt track, a 3/4 mile dirt track inside this big tricky triangle here. He said that was the first race they ran here at Pocono. We want to take a look at our Menards Pole Award winner presented by Ansel. That is Brennan Poole. He goes out and rockets that race car around the racetrack. And guys, early on, we've already got an issue in the back of this field.
We've got a car into the outside wall.
Into the wall.
On the pace lap.
That doesn't happen very often.
And we talk about the speeds of this new pavement. It had nothing to do with that. A lot of damage.
Alex Gregory in the 32 already has smashed the front end of this truck. You know, a lot of times the guys are warming their tires up going side by side. And potentially there could have been contact, but I noticed this one just turned right into the wall.
Yeah, there's sometimes where you'll jump on the throttle and it'll spin the tires and it'll turn you sideways. That may have been what happened. That's incredible, though. I know how excited Alec was about this race here, driving for Kevin Sawinski and the Wintron team, a great team, a winning team here in the ARCA Series, and it's gonna end before it begins.
Steering wheel already coming off. Alex Gregory is going to have to climb out of that race car. They'll have to hook it up and pull it into the garage. Let's take a look at what happened. Again, we're trying to get the tires warmed up here, coming out of turn 2, or coming out of turn 1, actually. We're in turn 2 now.
Wow.
Just hard right.
I'm not sure if there was any contact from behind or not, but man, that thing turned hard right.
And fluid coming out of that race car, and so they're going to have a little bit of cleanup here to do before we get the drop of the green flag. Again, prior to the drop of the green flag, we've already got a car in the wall.
Not the way you wanted to begin this race here.
Definitely not.
What an incredible amount of work that Brandon Igdalski and Nick Igdalski, all his crew, has done here at this racetrack.
While they're taking care of Alex's car, we're going to run through our starting grid. In the front row being made up with Brennan Poole and Kevin Swindell. Kevin Swindell, the son of Sammy Swindell.
Kevin had a runner-up finish at Rockingham a couple years ago. Brennan Poole had the pole here last year for this race.
Duplicated that performance. Chad Hockenbraw, Matt Lofton making up row number 2. Talked to Chad Hockenbraw before the race. Seems pretty confident about what he's got underneath him.
Sure does. There's Frank Kimmel, a multi-time winner here at this racetrack. Tremendous amount of experience, 9-time champion.
Alex Bowman in row 4, row 5, Chris Buescher. Those are 2 drivers that have been to victory lane already this year.
Young driver Josh Williams starts back in row number 6.
Spencer Gallagher, Michael Levine in the 95, making up row 7.
There's Tommy Hessert, runner-up right now in the point standings here in the ARCA Racing Series.
Driving for Ken Schrader in that 52. And as you see in row 9, it was supposed to be Alex Gregory, but that 32 is the one that's parked into the wall right now.
Yeah, and there's enough damage that's going to be terminal for that car. Tough break for that team. Yeah, let's see if we can make some contact with Chad Hockenbraw. Hey, Chad, Phil Parsons up in the speed booth. You got a copy? Chad, we didn't even get started there on the pace lap. We have a car into the outside wall there. What do you think?
That's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but I don't know what happened there. It looked pretty bad, though.
Chad, you were the guy that did the tire test here, and you did that unrestricted without the tapered spacer. How has the tapered spacer changed how you drive this racetrack?
Changed it quite a bit. You know, we got a smaller blade on the back as well, and we're pretty close to wide open on race trim through the tunnel turn, and not having to slow down too much through 3, which is a lot different than with the open, and I think we're just overall going a little bit slower.
Chad, you've been knocking on the door of victory lane here. You've got a runner-up finish already this year. What's it going to take to get that 58 car to victory lane?
Today, I think it's just going to take patience and being key. Just taking care of equipment. Everyone's a little worried about some stuff, so just got to take care of it and see what the day brings us.
All right, buddy. Good luck.
Thank you.
So the field 2x2, they're cleaning up the incident just outside of turn 1. As they clean that up, we'll slip away for a quick commercial break and be back for the green flag here at Pocono. Gregory's car on the Long Pond straightaway, getting ready for the Pocono ARCA 200. Again, a crazy warm-up lap. Alex Gregory in the 32 coming out of turn number 1. Take a look, Phil.
He's right there. That's him leading that pack. And it looks like there's a big gap in front of him. And maybe he jumps in the throttle to try to catch up. And maybe when he went to shift from second to third gear, he might have missed the gate and got into first gear, which would lock up the rear tires potentially.
There he is, and just a hard right turn and slams into the wall. Spins it around, and they had to clean up Long Pond straight away. Got that 32 car off the racetrack. Let's go back trackside and hear from Jim Trado.
Well, guys, one important thing to note here is Hoosier came here about a month ago and did a tire test with one driver, Chad Hockenbraugh. The rest of the drivers had to come here kind of blind with the new Hoosier tire compound as well. What they did is they had the benefit of the happy hour where they actually got to go out after qualifying. This is a set of scuffs in Chris Buescher's pit. He finished second and third here last year in the 2 races at Pocono. They decided to scuff their tires just 3 laps each on these four tires. They also have a set of stickers in the pit. A number of the teams yesterday in happy hour, guys, are actually hosing down the outside of the tire to seal it after just those 2 or 3 laps. They think that's the ticket in the 2 sets of tires they have here in the pits. Look for Buescher to put this set of stickers on at the last possible moment. But again, the scuff tires is the story here, I think, on pit road. We'll keep an eye on it down here. Ray?
Jim, we'll be watching tires, and we'll also watch fuel mileage today. That could be a big issue. It's always hard to get a good reading here. But my ultimate question today is which Frank Kimmel will be at this racetrack? Will it be the guy who's won here 3 times? Will his veteran experience pay off? Remember, he's with a brand new team this year, Thor Sport Racing, but I feel like this team is finally getting their groove on. They've had 2 second-place finishes this year, and this is a great racetrack for Frank. But will it be the veteran experience, or will it be somebody new today? Because we got a brand new pavement on this track, and maybe being a veteran just doesn't even matter, guys.
We had a pretty good start to the weekend for Thor Sport Racing, Ray, with a 1-2 finish last night in Texas in the Camping World Truck Series.
Kimmel trying to do the trifecta if he can get to victory lane here in Pocono. Take a look at our weather. Now, that has been a topic that everyone in the garage area has been keeping an eye on. The weather, 88 degrees currently, but showers are possible. We have seen some storms off to our northwest, and that is kind of moving in this direction.
As we take a look at our race analysis, 33 cars will start this race, and that's the key. The race distance, 80 laps. Everyone's going to be watching the sky, watching the radar to see, because they know if we get to 40 laps and it starts raining, that's a complete race.
2.5-mile racetrack, 3 distinctly different turns on this track.
They call it the Tricky Triangle. It may be one of the trickiest racetracks we have. The tunnel turn, Chad Hockenbraugh said he's run that turn wide open, one of the most intimidating corners in all of racing.
And Phil, you said you did that once.
One time in my career.
And white knuckle?
White, oh, absolutely.
The front row being made up with Brennan Poole and Kevin Swindell. They lead the field down this long straightaway. Coming through 3rd turn, green flag in the air. We're underway from Pocono.
What an amazing view we have from this turn 1 camera looking back at these cars as they come down this straightaway.
That straightaway, 3,740 feet long as they go into turn number 1. That's where they use the brakes the most.
See Kevin Swindell fighting hard on the outside. We haven't seen much side-by-side racing yet because the groove is right on the bottom. But Kevin Swindell is doing a nice job. We got a little bit of the speed orb back there from where that incident happened on the pace lap.
That's the cloud that you saw back there, still hugging the bottom of the racetrack. Brennan Poole in the 25. He has the advantage now. He gets in front of Kevin Swindell. And now
Chad for second.
Hockenbraugh making the move. Here comes Kimmel, looking as though he was going to make it 3 wide. He checks back and sits in that 4th spot.
It's amazing. I'm used to seeing these cars jumping up and down because of all the bumps. There are no bumps.
And there used to be a patch through turn number 3 that everyone would go to. That was where they wanted to run. Now you can run to the bottom of the racetrack. You can run to the top of the racetrack.
Yeah, they call that the grip strip. Well, the whole racetrack now is a grip strip.
You see Kimmel being able to get by that 55 of Kevin Swindell. So Frank moves up to the 3rd spot.
I know how desperately Frank Kimmel wants to get back to victory lane. I think what race say 68 races.
Yeah, it's been a lot
since Frank's been to victory lane, and he's won what, 74 5 times?
74 wins. He's looking for that magical 75, but he's still closing in on Iggy Katona, who has the most wins in all of ARCA Racing Series.
There's Alex Bowman, the 22 car, taking a look at Matt Lofton in the 16.
Just behind behind them, the 17 of Chris Buescher. So 3 cars fighting for position on the track.
2 of those cars already winners this year. Alex Bowman's won, as well as Chris Buescher. Matt Lofton's had a couple second-place finishes.
Lofton just in front of that threesome. As you see, race leader Brennan Poole rocket down the front stretch. Now closing the gap. Chad Hockenbraw getting closer to the back bumper.
As you mentioned, we talked to Chad Hockenbraw right before the race, and I've never seen that young man as confident as he is about his race car here at this racetrack.
Felt so good. Thought he had a piece that could win here at Pocono. But as he mentioned when you were talking with him, patience. This is an 80-lap race. You've got to be able to keep your equipment underneath you for all 80 laps if you want to see that checkered flag at the end.
You know, and Jim was talking about the tires. This tire is a little bit softer than the Goodyear tire that they brought for the Cup Series. So that's why these guys are keeping an eye on him. Great racing back here. That's the 82 of Sean Cord leading this group.
Sean Cord running in the 11th spot. A.J. Hendrickson just behind him in 12.
Brandon Davis in the 99, and there's Jared Marks in the 12. Just turned 18 less than a week ago. First super speedway race ever. He's in the top 10 of points after having missed 2 races.
Things heating up now for that 3rd spot. Kimmel has it, but just behind him in the 55, Kevin Swindell closing the gap.
And that Swindell name shouldn't be a mystery to a lot of people. Sammy Swindell's young son Kevin, a 3-time defending champion at the Chili Bowl, one of the biggest midget races we have.
Very impressive driver behind the wheel. And again, he is chasing after a 9-time series champion and looking very good in doing it.
See curb records on board that car for Kevin Swindell.
Turn 3, a very wide sweeping turn compared to the other 2. They go down this long straightaway and into turn number 1. Still 4 cars fighting for the position, but this is for 3rd. Swindell moved to the inside of Frank Kimmel, trying to take that spot away as they go down the straightaway.
So much room on that front straightaway. We often see cars 3, 4, even 5 wide down that front straightaway. Kevin makes the pass.
Again, Kevin Swindell started on the front row, so started in the 2nd spot, dropped all the way back to 4th, but now has won 3rd spot back from Frank Kimmel. Up into 2nd, Chad Hockenbraw still bird dogging race leader Brennan Poole. Back here for 11th, the 99 of Brandon Davis making the move by that 02 of Josh Williams.
There goes A.J. Hendrickson trying to get by the 02 of Josh Williams as well.
It used to be getting into turn number 1, you could outbrake someone. Getting off of turn 1, that's where you could make your move down Long Pond straightaway. It seems like guys are going to have to rethink strategy of where they're going to get around another driver.
And remember, we have that tapered spacer, so these guys don't have that power that they used to have. Now, they still have a lot of power, probably 750 horsepower, even with that tapered spacer, but they don't have the 900 potentially that they had before. So once they got in the throttle, they could make a move.
Now Kimmel falling back just a bit. We see that 55 of Swindell pulling away from him. Swindell in 3rd, Kimmel in 4th. Back here in the 5th spot, Matt Lofton.
Yeah, good 3-car battle for 5th. Alex Bowman, the 22, trying to figure out a way to get by in the 16 of Matt Lofton, with Chris Buescher hanging in there right behind him.
Chris Buescher winning at Toledo earlier this year. It's his 6th win in the ARCA Racing Series. And he is chasing for that 5th spot.
Chris Buescher had a 2nd and a 3rd place finish here last year, driving for the Rulo brothers in that 17 car.
And the only former winner at this racetrack, that very bright number 44 of Frank Kimmel. He is a 3-time winner here, won back in 1999, in 2005, and 2006 once again. Holding on to the 4th spot. Out in front, it's been all Brennan Poole since the drop of the green flag. He's been able to move out in front of Chad Hockenbraw, who's got about a half a second lead. Brennan Poole has increased his lead over Chad Hockenbraw to 1.7 seconds now. Beginning to check out on 2nd place Hockenbraw. And that time by increased his lead even further to 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, I've been watching the lap monitor. He's been running some very fast laps, 53.30. That last lap, very, very consistent. These tires are not falling off much.
Lofton, Bowman, Buescher. Now Buescher to the inside of Bowman, trying to take that spot away. That's for the 6th position. Buescher on the inside, Bowman on the outside. Buescher able to take away that spot, and just behind him, Alex Bowman could be a Rookie of the Year contender. Jim Trado?
Indeed he could, Rick, and the very fast young man has led more laps this season than anyone else in that number 22 machine. His crew chief is Paul Andrews. They've had a very fast car. They won earlier this year, as you said, at Salem Speedway after starting on the front row. A pole 3 times this season, including last race at Elko Speedway. A whole different story here at Pocono, though. This Cunningham team has been strong in the past with Parker Kligerman and other drivers, including Tom Hessert, but this car, according to the team, is faster than it qualified. So they're fighting through a little bit of a loose condition now in that St. Jude's number 22. But Bowman and this team are hoping to get funding. That hood is blank, guys, and they need funding after Michigan to continue on. So as strong as he's running, Alex Bowman, unfortunately, may be out of cash to keep the flow going for a full rookie run. But man, would it be a great charge. This kid has championship caliber possibilities. Needs a sponsor after Michigan. We'll see how this team works out, but they've been stellar this season, guys.
What a great start to his ARCA career. He won his first 2 starts last season.
Yeah, when he was just a kid.
He's still a kid.
At the wee age of 19 years old now. Again, a year ago, just 18 years. We look back down the straight, and you see Brendan Poole and Chad Hockenbraugh. There is a huge gap between first and second. Now it's 4 seconds.
There's a good side-by-side battle for the 11th spot. A.J. Hendrickson, the 66 on the inside. Sean Corr, the 82 on the outside.
Sean Corr trying to battle back on that outside line. When they get into turn number 1, this is where braking comes to be a premium.
It's amazing. You used to run down this front straightaway about 200 miles an hour. You got down to turn number 1, and you would stand on the brake pedal with both feet.
Try to get it slowed down, make that hard left turn, and then rock it back down Long Pond straightaway. These two stay side by side for position.
Yeah, this tunnel turn is a turn that used to never go side by side through there. Single file through that corner. You see Sean Corr actually backed off and allowed the 66 of Hendrickson to get in that corner.
Heard him get back out of the gas. Now a battle for the 2nd position. Chad Hockenbraugh in that 58. Just in front of Kevin Swindell in the 55. So Swindell is now reeling in that 58.
Yeah, the last 2 or 3 laps on the racetrack, Kevin Swindell has been the fastest car. Chased down this 58 car of Hockenbraugh.
Again, Hockenbraugh, another driver that we expect to be in victory lane soon. His best finish came earlier this year. 2nd is Mobile.
A little bit of traffic in front of these guys. There's 3 lap cars in front of Chad.
Already, Brendan Poole setting a very blistering pace. Ed Papa a lap down, running in the 22nd position. Larry Barford Jr. is 21st, still on the lead lap, but not for long.
Problem for Kevin Swindell. Unscheduled pit stop. I thought I may have detected just a little bit of smoke out of that 55 car.
So the Venturini Motorsports 55 of Swindell on pit road now. Ray, what are they talking about with the 55 team?
So far hasn't said a thing on the radio, but the left front tire is definitely shredded on this thing, so that's going to be their problem. So why not go with 4 here right now? This could work out in their favor because there is expected to be a caution coming up in this race where a good part of the field will pit early on, but you can see that left front tire was the problem. They get that thing off there. There'll be 4 tires back on Swindell's Curb Records Camry, and he's back in the race.
Very fortunate that he didn't do damage to the body of that race car with such a flat tire. It didn't shred on him.
There's a leader right now. He will actually get out in front of Kevin Swindell. So Kevin will be a lap down when this caution flag comes out, maybe within the next 5 laps or so.
And we continue to talk about a caution. It's not going to be a competition caution. We talked to the ARCA officials. So it's not considered a competition caution, but they did want to bring the field back together to make sure that the tire wear was working out okay. And now a big question mark is going to pop up because we just saw Kevin Swindell come onto pit road because of a left front tire down.
I think we have to be concerned about that right now.
Out in front, Brendan Poole continues to dominate at Pocono. Left front tire off of Kevin Swindell. He was just on pit road. He was running in the 3rd position, but that shredded left front tire brought him onto pit road.
There's a good battle for the 4th position. Matt Lofton in the 16 has it. Chris Buescher, the 17, chasing him down. Now Chris is in 5th.
Down the short chute and into turn number 3. Again, Lofton just in front of Buescher, and now the caution has come out.
I think that's a great call to go ahead and bring that caution out now. We saw the trouble on Kevin Swindell's car with that left front tire. I think we need to come in and get these tires off, take a look at them, make sure that's an isolated incident.
Take a look at the tire wear. Make sure we don't have anything for further in this race. So out in front, leading all 15 laps, has been Brennan Poole. He had put a 7-second lead over Chad Hockenbraugh. Brennan Poole has set a blistering pace. He put 19 cars a lap down, and the car scored in the 19th position is the 3 of Steve Fox. He is the first car scored a lap down, so because this caution came out, he is going to be the recipient of the Aaron's Lucky Dog.
There's a good break for Steve.
Steve Fox will get back on the lead lap. That'll put us with 19 cars on the lead lap. One of the differences between NASCAR and ARCA, on the restarts, they won't line them up 2 by 2 again with all of the lead lap cars up front. They'll bring the lap down cars up on the inside line. The field will be making their way onto pit road, and probably one of the most anxious will be our race leader, Brennan Poole. His teammate came onto pit road unscheduled because the left front tire had shredded on that race car. That could be a big issue. Running second, Chad Hockenbraugh in the 58. Let's go to pit road. And we start with Ray Dunlap.
Thank you, Rick. This will be a good time for these guys to get a look at their tires. You see in the middle of your screen, Chad Hockenbraugh, his car is a little bit hot on oil. They're also going to go 4 tires here. See Frank Kimmel at the bottom. They're going to make a wedge adjustment. He's a little bit tight. Now to Jim on the leader.
Brennan Poole, they want to change 4 tires. They want to start with the exact same start pressure by crew chief Billy Venturini's direction. They're going 4 tires, while some may think about 2. They want to keep the balance under this point leader and race leader's car. The 25 of Venturini Motorsports getting the left sides on. He's down and away. He'll be beat out of the pits by Buescher, who took 2.
Yeah, I don't think after seeing that left front tire on Kevin Swindell's car, I don't think I can do 2 tires. I have to take a look at that left front tire.
And one of the things that could come into play with the tire issue would be camber. I mean, if they're looking to get a little extra grip and somehow they got the 55 with a little more camber, that could cause the problem that we saw earlier.
No, without a doubt, and that's how the tire tilts in, that left front tire, and the air pressure for the same thing. You let a little air pressure out, and that gives you a little more grip.
We're talking about the 17 of Buescher. Pretty close to hitting his marks there.
Yeah, great work on pit road by the Rulo brothers guys.
Right side tires are all they changed. Packet full of fuel. And he went
actually stalled it a little bit.
Yep.
But only right side tires on that car, so it's going to be interesting to see what the other crew chiefs find on the left side tires they took off. And I know every single crew chief is aware of that 55 car's left front tire.
Trying to figure out if tire wear is an issue early in this one. 17 laps complete, 63 to go. The winner off of pit road, that's 17 of Chris Buescher. To go back to Green Flag Racing. Again, winning the race off of pit road, Chris Buescher. Brennan Poole will be on the inside of row number 1 for the restart.
I believe that's the 55
that's right,
of
the
Kevin
55.
Swindell. Remember, lap down cars on the inside.
Buescher takes the green flag, back underway.
Kevin Swindell would love to get out in front of James Buescher. In the event a caution would come out again, he would be able to drive all the way back around. He's going to tuck in behind Brennan Poole right now.
His teammate. They work their way through turn number 1. After the caution had come out, ARCA officials calling that. It wasn't debris. There was no accident. ARCA officials just said they wanted to check that tire wear because of the issue early in this race.
Again, essentially a brand new racetrack here. The same facility. Racetracks banked the same, but with this new pavement, essentially a new racetrack.
Buescher out in front. Here comes Brennan Poole. Looking to the inside, trying to take that top spot away. They go side by side, multiple grooves through turn number 3.
Nice strong move by Brennan Poole. He's going to have his teammate line up behind him, and drafting at 200 miles an hour is definitely effective here.
Teammates trying to work together.
Kevin Swindell has his own idea. He'd love to help his teammate get out front. Then he wants to get out in front of him in case the caution comes out. And certainly right now he's in a great position for the Aaron's lucky dog if the caution were to come out.
But also, and the caution comes out, and big wreck. Bobby Gerhart involved in the 5.
Michael Levine, the 95.
13 of George Cushman, it looks like, also involved in this.
A lot of damage to Michael Levine's car. And how about Bobby Gerhart? Was just honored in the Pennsylvania legislature this week for his 8 contributions
wins
to racing.
Oh yeah, 8 wins at Daytona, unmatched. And look at the damage to the 13 of George Cushman.
Wow. Kevin Swindell is going to get that Aaron's lucky dog.
Take another look at what just took place.
See, top of your screen, it's already happened. There's probably some contact as they got down in the corner. And again, you're running 200 miles an hour as you enter that corner. When you hit something, you're going to hit it hard.
And these 3 have. The 13 of George Cushman coming in late into that, but the 5 and the 95 looked like there was contact made getting into turn 1.
There's a contact. Looked like the 95 of Michael Levine ran in the back of Bobby Gerhart. Maybe Bobby backed off a little bit earlier than Michael Levine thought. Michael ran in the back of him, lifted Bobby's car up off the ground, and into the outside wall they went.
And George Cushman trying to find a line through, gets caught up. And so all 3 cars, extensive damage. Bringing out the second caution. They were running in the 16th, 17th, and 18th place on the track.
See right out in front of them as they enter turn 1 down there. The fastest part of this racetrack at well over 200 miles an hour.
So they're going to put the 5 of Bobby Gerhart on the hook. Pull that into the garage, so his day is done. But when a caution comes out, that benefits another driver. And today the benefactor of this caution is the 55 of Kevin Swindell.
He's a lucky dog.
He is the Aaron's lucky dog, so he'll get back on the lead lap. Again, after Kevin Swindell started on the front row for this race, it was left front tire issues that brought him onto pit road early, lost the lap. Now he gets it back. He's back on the lead lap. Caution, and the reason why in turn number 1, this issue just took place.
Yeah, Bobby Gerhart slows. Michael Levine, the 95, runs in the back of him hard. George Cushman comes along. He'd already committed to the corner, slides up the racetrack. They all get into the safer barrier.
A lot of damage to the 5, Bobby Gerhart, as well as that 95 of Michael Levine.
Yeah, look at right side of your screen. It's going to be significant hard contact, especially for the 95 of Michael Levine.
Let's hear from Bobby Gerhart. He's standing by with Jim Trado.
Glad to see he's out of the care center. Bobby, what did happen with that 5 car?
Well, regardless what it looked like, it was all my responsibility, Jim. It, hate to say this, but throttle stuck. Yeah, I headed down in there, and I stood on the hooks as hard as I could, and I think I had it load up enough that I wouldn't have hit anything. But you know, look, you're carrying so much speed with no power at these things. You know, them guys behind me are just doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that's just you got to haul it in there. And I was in the road, to be honest with you, and it's pretty much what happened.
Unfortunately for Bobby Gerhart, that stuck throttle, he's trying to get out of the way, really. And the 46th time here at Pocono is not the charm for Bobby. Still winless here in his home state track.
Wow, unfortunate for Bobby Gerhart, but I'm telling you, a hung throttle going into turn number 1, probably the scariest thing in racing.
Absolutely terrifying here. And he did a great job getting it slowed down. I think he was right. He wasn't going to hit anything, but he had no idea how fast he was going. Michael Levine had no idea he was having a problem.
Right. So Bobby Gerhart was hard on the brakes, trying to slow that car down, and Michael Levine still racing just behind him, got into the back. So hearing that the 95 of Michael Levine, as well as that 13 of George Cushman, have been in the infield care center, been checked and released.
Yeah, as well as Alex Gregory from that initial pace lap incident.
Here from ARCA, they're going to go around one more time, just make sure everything is cleaned up in turn number 1. They put a lot of speed zorb down in the turn to make sure that all the fluids were picked up. Talk about carrying a lot of speed through turn number 1. One of the other drivers that was involved in that incident, the guy who got into the back of the 5, Michael Levine, is with Jim.
Making a second ARCA start this year, Michael, what happened from your perspective?
You know, it was hard to tell. You know, we'd had a rough pit stop. We were looking to really bounce back from it. We had a fast car. And just going into turn 1, you know, I was on the brakes as hard as I could and just couldn't stay out of the car in front of me. And, you know, just tight to end the run like that. We were on a good run. We wanted to get to the end of the race. So, you know, I'm not real sure what happened, but that's what I saw.
Thoughts of Michael Levine. Again, the team operation, Levine Family Racing, also in the Sprint Cup Series, limited effort. Certainly Michael wanted to get more track time here before that crash.
And I think that's the goal of a lot of guys, a lot of these young drivers. Try to get the 80 laps, run 80 laps, get some experience.
Get the seat time, and a place like Pocono Raceway, a very difficult racetrack, but a great learning experience. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by eHarmony.com, where first dates have a better chance of becoming something more. By Ansel, for over 100 years, the world leader in hand protection. And by Cabela's, your Father's Day gift headquarters. Two by two once again, the inside line being led by the 88 of Buster Graham. He had an eventful ride here last year.
An incredible ride. Looked like he'd leaped a 3-tier guardrail down in turn number 1.
He did exactly that, but Buster Graham scored a lap down, and so he is on the inside line. Now he is in the 18th position. Leading the field once again, it's Brennan Poole with Chris Buescher just behind him. And then in the 99, Brandon Davis running 3rd. Green flag back in the air. We're back underway from Pocono. Saw the 55 way in the back, Kevin Swindell ducking out. Kevin back on the lead lap, but have to work his way through this traffic to get back up front.
Yeah, fast race car. There's a lot of time left here. Heavy traffic here through turn number 1.
2 and 3 wide as they work down Long Pond straightaway. Spreading out as they come into the tricky tunnel turn here.
Chris Buescher hanging right with Brennan Poole. Remember, Brennan Poole dominated this race last year, had a bit of a miscue on a pit stop. Ty Dillon ended up getting the victory lane. I mean, Tim George ended up getting the victory lane.
Chad Hockenbraugh being tailed by that 44 of Frank Kimmel, working toward the front once again.
Moving by the 02 of Josh Williams.
Chasing after that 99 of Brandon Davis. Also involved now, moving up, Nelson Canache in the 35.
Matt Lofton in the 16, tucked right in behind him, trying to draft by the 44 of Frank Kimmel.
Running that lower line. Saw the 16 of Matt Lofton, a little bit higher line, Josh Williams, the 18-year-old out of Port Charlotte, Florida.
Chad Hockenbraugh goes for that 3rd spot to the inside of Brandon Davis in the 99.
Hockenbraugh has it as he goes through turn 2 and down into turn 3, now onto the straightaway. Hockenbraugh pulling away from that 99 of Brandon Davis. And now we see Frank Kimmel all over the back bumper of Brandon Davis.
Yeah, Frank doesn't want to lose touch with Hockenbraugh. He's going to try to make the move by the 99. First chance he gets here.
Race leader Brennan Poole once again putting a gap between he and second. Almost a 1 second lead over Chris Buescher is what Brennan Poole has now. Chad Hockenbraugh running in the 3rd spot.
Nice move by Frank Kimmel. He pulls underneath Brandon Davis and just about clears him. He does clear him at the exit of turn number 1.
Takes the 4th spot away. That moves Brandon Davis back into the 5th position. Moving up, that 55. Kevin Swindell again getting his lap back courtesy of Aaron's Lucky Dog.
Already up into the top 10, gets by the 52 of Tommy Hessert. There's Alex Bowman, the 22, Sean Core, the 82 to his outside, Jared Marks in the 12 car. All those cars on the lead lap.
And the 55 has had a lot of work to get back up toward the front. Kevin Swindell, after having a left front tire issue early in this one, continues to work hard. And we see Chad Hockenbraugh staying just in front of that 17 of Chris Buescher. But more on the 55. Let's go to Ray.
Well, Rick, I just wanted to remind everybody at home that the 55 did come down and get fuel a little bit later than everyone. When he got that Lucky Dog award, he was able to come down and put in some gasoline. Now, at the top of the show, I said it's been very hard for many of these teams to estimate their fuel mileage. That's because here at Pocono, you have such long in and out laps. So a lot of these guys, whenever I asked them what their fuel mileage window was going to be, they said, well, probably 40. Maybe 38, could be 37. So a number of crew chiefs down here not quite exactly sure how many laps they really can go under green flag racing.
Yeah, Kevin Swindell, Ray, you're right, has 7 laps cushion on the rest of the field. He pitted on lap number 24. Brendan Poole and all the other guys running up in front of him on lap 17. See Tom Hessert, the Federated Auto Parts Chevrolet, moves to the inside of Nelson Canache to take over our spot.
So Hessert moves up.
That's the 10th spot. Kevin Swindell now has made his way up to the 9th spot.
Chad Hockenbraugh in front of Chris Buescher. Poole still leading. Hockenbraugh 1.2 seconds back now. Side-by-side racing here further back in the field.
See Alex Bowman, the 22 on the inside of the 82 of Sean Core. There's Jared Marks, A.J. Hendrickson, Spencer Gallagher. Spencer Gallagher is the 23, the blue and yellow car.
Jim, what are you hearing from Alex Bowman?
Alex Bowman came with everyone else on lap 16 to pit, but they had a jack issue. So what the team decided with the track position lost under green on lap 28 under caution, they came down and pitted for fuel only. So Paul Andrews made the call. Let's get fuel now. So as Bowman makes his way forward, he's also a driver to watch when it comes to the fuel mileage.
Closing in on the halfway point of this race.
There's A.J. Hendrickson right along with him. You see the Mallory ignitions that all these teams run here. That limits the RPMs to about 8,800. I was talking to some of the guys in the garage area, and they're actually running enough rear end gear so they don't hit that chip, because with a tapered spacer, it takes the engine too much time to recover.
Want to keep the RPMs as much as they can. Take a look at this. The move by Kevin Swindell. He's able to get by that 0-2 of Josh Williams.
Yeah, there's no question that Kevin Swindell has a fast race car.
Swindell up to the 7th spot now. Look back on Alex Bowman in the 22, Sean Core in the 82 on the inside.
And just freshly turned 18 years old, Jared Marks in the 12 car.
Jared Marks moving to the bottom of the racetrack, going to follow that 82 of Sean Core through turn 1.
I've been very impressed with Jared Marks. He's had some great finishes last year as a 16 and 17-year-old, now just has turned 18. First super speedway race. Really does a nice job.
Saw Mariev Defoe in the 12 a year ago. Now Jared Marks taking over that seat, right along with Spencer Gallagher.
Spencer's from Las Vegas, Nevada, running the full ARCA schedule.
You're at the gas, then right back in as he comes out of turn 3.
And it's amazing as you exit turn number 3 how long that straightaway is. It seems like you just go forever, just getting faster and faster and faster.
Chad Hockenbraugh has closed the gap between he and Brendan Poole. Our race leader has a 1-second lead now over Chad Hockenbraugh. It's a good move by Jared Marks.
Yeah, Sean Core also get by Nelson Canache.
Alex Bowman trying to go by on the inside as well.
Hard racing back here, halfway on lap number 40 of 80.
So Bowman's able to get by Nelson Canache.
Spencer Gallagher does as well. Here comes A.J. Hendrickson. He's going to try to make the move. That is a teammate for Venturini.
Very close racing here between the two teammates. They go down the front stretch now. And with the momentum, the 35, Nelson Canache back out in front of that 66 of A.J. Hendrickson.
And 5 cars in total for Venturini Motorsports.
And they are leading this race with one of those cars, the 25 of Brendan Poole.
Here's Big Bill right there, the Grand Marshal for this race. Two-time ARCA champion.
back to Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Yes, 9-time champion Frank Kimmel coming off of pit road. They had some issues with the left rear of that race car.
Yeah, Frank was not able to get out. They only changed the left side tires, but was not able to get out in front of Brendan Poole, so he now finds himself a lap down.
And ARCA officials also posting the 35 of Nelson Canache. They're saying that his window net has come down on that 35, so they're asking him to come onto pit road to make sure they put that back up.
He was running in the 11th spot when that happened.
Kimmel was running in the 4th position when he had what looked like a left rear tire rub that was causing that car to smoke and potential issues down the road, right?
Rick, actually it was the left front, and you can see the tire has come off of the race car here, and this looks very similar to what we saw on Swindell's. You see the separation that runs along all the way right here where the top of the tire hits the sidewall, and that appears to be the problem. A little bit of delamination on the top here also. Kind of hard to tell what it's a chicken or egg situation, but this tire looks a lot like what we saw on Swindell.
Yeah, another cause for concern, Ray, for all these teams in the garage area, all these crew chiefs. And again, every crew chief in this garage area on pit road will be aware of the fact that that happened to the 44 car as well.
Battle for 4th, Brandon Davis just in front of that 55 of Kevin Swindell. What a run Kevin Swindell is having. After being a lap down, getting the Aaron's Lucky Dog back on the lead lap, now battling for the 4th spot.
Yeah, we were listening to his crew chief Kevin Caldwell during one of our commercial breaks, and he was telling Kevin, said, hey, you got a great race car. Just take your time getting up through there. You're a half a second faster than most of those cars up until you get to the top 5. And here he is now on the verge of moving into the 4th spot.
To the bottom of the racetrack goes Kevin Swindell, working by Brandon Davis in the 99 as they go to turn 1. These two are 10 seconds behind race leader Brendan Poole. Poole has just an 1/8 of a second lead over Chad Hockenbrock. Chad Hockenbrock continues to chip away at that lead that Brendan Poole has set.
We have to remember now, these guys that pitted on lap number 17 may be only about 15 laps away from pit stops, so they would love to see a caution flag.
And these two drivers are a part of that group that came on to pit road in lap 17.
Yeah, Chad Hockenbrough has picked up the pace now. He's run faster than Brendan Poole. That lap Brendan Poole was just a tick faster, but Chad Hockenbrough has been gaining on Brendan Poole.
Brendan Poole has been dominant. He's led 42 of the 45 laps that have been complete. In an 80-lap race here for the ARCA Racing Series. And now they're going to have to work their way through some slower lap traffic. Brendan Poole working by on the inside. And the 55 looks like he is slowing once again.
Maybe the same exact issue. Maybe it is the left front tire once again. You know what the problem is, if you have an excessive camber or something like that, you cannot fix that.
One thing he wants to do is get to pit road before that tire shreds completely and starts tearing sheet metal off the race car. Down on the access road through turn number 3, and he'll make his way on to pit road. He was running in the 4th spot when he had tire issues once again.
And if you're a driver and if you're going to have a flat tire like they are, that left front is the best one to have. You can get by with that one. If you do that to a right front tire, more than likely you're going to hit something, as well as the rear tires.
Right.
A long way around the racetrack for Kevin Swindell. He successfully overcame that first one. I'm not sure he's going to have enough time to overcome this one.
How does that affect the teammate? Like race leader Brendan Poole when he sees his teammate come onto pit road for a second time with left front tire issues.
Not only teammates, but I think, again, everybody on pit road has to be concerned about this.
Brendan Poole's been running hard, and now the 55 makes it into his pit, right?
It's weird, guys, because recommended tire pressure on these left sides is at 20 pounds. You heard Kevin Caldwell said they went back up to 21. Jared Prince, the crew chief on Frank Kimmel's car, told me they had gone an extra pound up. They had started that run at 22. So they don't feel like it's a tire pressure issue. But obviously, as you said, many people running up and down pit road to look at these tires.
Yeah, right. Brandon Davis in the 99 car, who was running 4th, is also making his way down pit road. There he is.
Jim Trado
Something under the hood on Brandon Davis's number 99. His very first trip here to Pocono. Team car to Chris Buescher. They've been working well together. Gene Roberts, the man on the box, calling the car. They're going to pop the hood pins. It's not a tire issue, but they may have tires at the ready in case they have time to fix it. What's the under the hood? A mysterious issue on the right-hand side of the motor, guys, on this Ford. They're asking for more crew guys. And unfortunately, they have not been able to identify the problem yet on Davis's 99.
That's going to take Brandon out of contention. Had a great run going, looking for a top 5 finish. His career best was a 9th earlier this year at Talladega.
Talk about Brandon Davis when he came off the racetrack. He was running in the 4th spot. That's because the 55, Kevin Swindell, had slowed down. And there you see that left front tire go away.
Well out of the racing groove, and I think the ARCA officials said, I think that's far enough out of the groove that we don't need to slow the field down with a caution flag.
48 laps complete. It's been Brennan Poole's day. Venerini Motorsports in that 25, trying to go back-to-back wins in the ARCA Racing Series. For the ARCA Racing Series, out in front, it's Brennan Poole. Chad Hockenbraugh has a 1.8-second gap he's going to have to make up if he wants to challenge for this lead. How about the battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th? 15 of Ryan Reed holding on to that 5th spot.
Good run through the center of the corner of the tunnel for Tommy Hessert. See, he has momentum, going to pull to the inside of Ryan Reed. Alex Bowman, the 22, right there as well.
Alex Bowman's going to have to decide which line he wants to take. It looks like he's going to go to the bottom of the racetrack, try to get by that 15 of Ryan Reed as they come out onto the straightaway.
Good 4-way battle there. There's Jared Marks, the 12th car, also in this battle.
5 through 8 working down the racetrack.
It's Matt Lofton right in front of that group right there in the 16 car. He's in the 4th spot. How about Alex Bowman's going to jump to the outside of Ryan Reed.
Trying to make the pass as they go down Long Pond straightaway. And he has the momentum. He's going to carry that to the outside of Ryan Reed, make that pass as they go into the tunnel turn. Also, Jared Marks making the move in the 12 on the outside of Ryan Reed also. Ray.
Rick, Jared said when he goes to the high side like that, his race car is really loose coming off of the corners. But Phil was talking about impressive runs from this young driver. What I think is really interesting is how many racetracks that we've gone to last year and this year that he had never seen before. He got an 8th earlier this year at Mobile, goes to Elko and get a 10th at Toledo. So a young driver with racetracks he's never been to and posting top 10s.
He had a 4th last year at Salem for his best finish.
Has never run here.
What a tough break for that 55 of Kevin Swindell. Such a good race car, and issues with the left front tire twice.
Finished 11th at Talladega earlier this year. It's not going to be his day from Pocono. 28 laps of racing remain. Tom Hessert has the 5th spot now as Alex Bowman chases him.
Nice steady run for Tom Hessert. Tom started back in the 18th spot. Steady progression up here. He's going to move over, looks like, and let Alex Bowman go by. Or he was just trying to break the draft, but it almost let Alex Bowman go by.
Moved to the bottom of the racetrack. Bowman stayed a bit higher and now has that momentum, trying to carry that through the turn. You see the tire smoke from the 52 of Tom Hessert.
I didn't know if maybe that tire was rubbing the fender as that thing is loaded down there in the center of the corner. We don't see it on the straightaway.
A little bit there as he goes through turn 1.
There's a 55 of Swindell. Remember, 1 lap down once again. Right now running in the 15th position. Frank Kimmel also 1 lap down after his unscheduled pit stop. Frank runs 14th.
Yeah, Brennan Poole has really set the pace today. Holding down the 12th spot is the 02 of Josh Williams. Josh would be the next to go a lap down. There's Kevin Swindell. Now Brennan Poole again back out front. He's led 50 of the 53 laps that we have completed.
Really,
that was lap 51.
A flawless race so far for Brennan Poole. I know, talking to Billy Venturini and all the folks over there at Venturini Motorsports, how impressed they are. From the first time he ever got in one of their cars, he said, this kid is the real deal.
And they've had some impressive drivers behind the wheel. I look back at Rockingham when they had Joey Logano drive one of their race cars, and they talked very highly about Brennan Poole even in that same category.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They've had a lot of talent, bring a lot of young talent into the series. We talked about Alex Bowman winning a couple times his first 2 starts. That was in Venturini Motorsports cars.
And now it's Brennan Poole's turn. Trying to go back-to-back again. A week ago, it was Minnesota, the first trip that the ARCA Racing Series made to Elko. Take a look at this. A 3/8 mile paved oval.
Yeah, a little bit different than this place. But a victory in a victory lane.
Brennan Poole able to celebrate. We saw Big Bill giving him the big bear hug.
Yeah, sometimes he does a kiss too, which is a little bit uncomfortable. Alex Bowman now goes by Matt Lofton for the 4th spot.
So Alex Bowman trying to reel in race leader Brennan Poole, but he's got to go through a few more first. ARCA Racing from Pocono Raceway. Pocono ARCA 200. Presented by Menards. Brennan Poole running a flawless race up to this point. He has led 53 laps of the 56 that have been complete. Just 24 laps remain, but we're still going to have to see him come to pit road. Jim Trado.
And when they do come, I just talked to Billy Venturini, his crew chief, on the 25 of Brennan Poole, the race leader. I said, what will you do if and when you come down? He said, we're thinking about doing 2 tires. We'll see how our lap speeds are. We'll see what the gap is. We may go 4 tires, but this, I believe, is the calmest I've ever seen Billy Venturini on the pit box. These guys have something clicking here at Pocono. Ray?
Yeah, Ray, before you grab it, once again, issues with that 55. The left front tire blowing out on the 55. Kevin Swindell just cannot catch a break.
No, and that wasn't very many laps either. That was, gosh, only about 11 laps that time for Kevin Swindell. But I believe if I'm Billy Venturini, I'm going to, after seeing one of my team cars here with left front tire issues, I'm going to put 4 tires on that car for Brennan Poole just to make sure.
You saw that the wheels locked up on that 55, the sparks flying from underneath. Battle for the 6th spot. Jared Marks trying to take it away from Tom Hessert.
Nice move by Jared Marks. Turned under Tom coming off turn number 3. Tom beats him to the start finish line, but long way down to turn number 1. See what Jared can do here as they enter turn number 1.
Jared has the advantage as they go through turn 1. So Jared Marks takes that spot away, moves up into the 6th position. We talked about the fact that the window was around 40 to 45 laps. We're in that window right now with both Brennan Poole and Chad Hockenbraugh, right?
We are in that window, Rick, and a big question, I guess, for Phil would be, well, I guess we just got our answer because the yellow flag is out. My question was going to be, how far will you push it? Because Hockenbraugh could have gone all the way to 65, but that point is moot now. 58 laps in, and we've got a yellow, and I agree with you, Phil. These guys are going to go with 4 for sure.
We got to do it, Ray. Got to put 4 on. You can't take a chance of having an issue with that left front tire.
Sprint to the finish. Here's the crew chief reaction. Caution comes out. Yes, the caution comes out. Thank you.
And by the way, that's Chad Hockenbraugh's crew chief, Kevin Reed.
He was getting ready to bring his driver onto pit road. And so the caution coming out with just 22 laps to go. Aaron's lucky dog will go to Frank Kimmel. So Kimmel will be able to get back on the lead lap. That will put 13 on the lead lap.
Yeah. Good break for Frank Kimmel. Put him in contention maybe for a top 5 finish.
Laps winding down from Pocono. Brennan Poole will be on pit road in just a moment. Stops about to take place. There'll only be 20 laps of racing to go after they come on to pit road. Brennan Poole leading the field once again. Chad Hockenbraugh running in the 2nd spot. And those 2 cars make the hard left turn and make their way onto pit road. Let's go to Ray.
Guys, it was a long pit stop for Hockenbraugh the first time. Chad saying that he didn't like the way his gas pedal and brake are aligned on the inside of that car. They said, be very careful with it. He's in his pits right now. No adjustments for this race car. They're going to go with 4 tires. It'll be interesting to see if they can have a close gap off of pit road. Now to Jim Trado.
And Chris Buescher comes into the 3rd position on the bottom of your screen. They're going to take 4 tires. He only took 2 the last time down pit road on lap 16. So the Relaxed Tool 4 boys are added with 4 fresh Hoosier tires here for Chris Buescher. We see the race leader also top of your screen. Brennan Poole, just 1/2 pound of air pressure in the left rear, 1 pound of air pressure in the right rear is the call from crew chief Billy Venturini. And they are excited as he leaves pit road with P1. Brennan Poole will take off, and Buescher still slow on the left side. Now he's down in the way. He'll end up in the 4th spot when they get realigned.
Looks like Ryan Reed may come off pit road in 2nd, Chad Hockenbraugh in 3rd.
So 2 Venturini Motorsport race cars coming off of pit road, 1 and 2.
Take a look at this pit stop for Chad Hockenbraugh. Watch the jack. He tries to get the jack underneath the jack stop here. Remember, they had an issue on the first pit stop. Watch as he goes to jack it up. He didn't have it on the jack stop. He starts jacking up the side skirt. Then he slides it in there. But about a 25-second pit stop for Chad Hockenbraugh. It's hard to overcome that.
Yeah, and with Brennan Poole being so strong, very, very difficult to have an issue on pit road and then try to get it back on the racetrack. So Brennan Poole wins the race off of pit road. Can he win the race in Pocono? Stay with us. 15 laps of racing remain for the Pocono ARCA 200 from Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Out in front, it's Brennan Poole in that 25 car, but his teammate Kevin Swindell in the 55 has 3 times had to come to pit road because of a left front tire going flat and shredding. Jim Trado, is there any word in the Brennan Poole pits as far as tire wear on that left front?
As soon as Kevin Swindell was off the pace for the 3rd time, Rick, I actually climbed up the pit box and asked Billy Venturini, the crew chief on Brennan Poole's car, that very question. Are you worried at all about your left front? He said, no, we have no issues whatsoever. When Billy climbed off the box this time from pit road, when they changed 4 tires, he was actually looking at the right rear tire. It has just a bit of a blistering around the outside edge, maybe an inch in on these Hoosier right rears. That's the 2nd time they had a little bit of chunking on the right rear, but they have no worries here. One big relief is how good this pit stop was. Last year, guys, Brennan Poole was leading. They came in and had a bad pit stop. He came back out, and the fog rolled in, and he ended up in 5th position. A race he very well could have won. So they're very excited that they have a great pit stop to get Brennan back out front.
Thank you, Jim. And take a look. Yeah, this time, all celebrations after that pit stop. You see Billy Venturini pointing at all the guys that went over the wall saying, great job, you guys. You got us out first. We've got a chance at winning this race. Green flag back in the air. 17 laps to go from Pocono.
Brennan Poole has a teammate behind him, the 15 of Ryan Reed. That's the 99 on the inside. Brandon Davis trying to get a lap back.
And Chad Hockenbraugh just behind that 15, trying to work by for the 2nd spot. 3 wide through turn 1.
Look how heavy that traffic is there as they exit 4 wide. As they exit turn 1.
Out of turn number 1. Here comes Frank Kimmel in the 44. He was the Aaron's Lucky Dog recipient back on the lead lap. We also see Nelson Canache in the 35 working his way toward the front.
Yeah, Nelson's being shown 1 lap down right now. You see Frank trying to work to the inside of Tommy Hessert in the 52 car.
Tom Hessert, after starting 18th in this race, has been able to work his way up into the top 10.
I think Frank right now has made his way all the way back up into the top 10 as he exits turn number 3.
Laps continue to wind down. Frank Kimmel sees the laps winding down, but also sees a lot of cars in front of him, Ray.
And that Menards Camry is very good on entry. He said not quite enough forward bite coming up off. They did put 4 tires on it there. He did get the Lucky Dog back in the top 10. Phil's he got enough time to get up there?
He can get to the top 5, Ray. I'm not sure as strong as Brennan Poole is and Chad Hockenbraugh. I'm not sure how far he can get up there, but he's got a great car right now. Watch this, though, guys.
Threading the needle is the 44. Take a look at this.
On the right side of your screen, he's going to go underneath the 202 of Josh Williams. They're going to end up being 4 wide at one point here. Buster Graham, the 88, Nelson Canache in the 35.
Keeps marching toward the front. He and Tom Hessert in that 52. Already after the restart, The 25 of Brendan Poole has a 1 second lead over Chad Hockenbraugh. Hockenbraugh's been able to get by Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher. There's Lofton on the inside in the 16. Buescher on the outside. Two distinctly different lines, and Buescher didn't want to go that high. Has to check up and slow that 17 down to catch the handle.
Yeah, that's absolutely not where he wanted to be. Wonder if he may have had a problem or just got in the corner maybe a little too high. Let's see as he goes down through the tunnel turn here. See Kimmel on the inside of Sean Corr. Kimmel's already up to the 9th spot, trying to get 8th away from Sean Corr. He's got it.
15 laps of racing to go. Kimmel up into the 8th spot.
Garrett Marks, the 12 car on the inside, and his Dodge getting by Sean Corr.
This time by 14 laps remain. Brendan Poole has a 1 second lead over Chad Hockenbraugh.
Remember, Brendan Poole comes in here as our point leader. Chris Buescher right now, second points, is running back in the 5th spot.
By Ryan Reed goes the 44 of Frank Kimmel. Ryan Reed, after restarting this race second, has dropped back now to the 7th position and losing that spot to Sean Corr.
Frank Kimmel now just outside the top 5. He made his way up into the 6th spot. Chris Buescher, the 17 car, is next.
Very aggressive as the laps wind down. Guys trying to catch up to Brendan Poole. Talk about Poole running a flawless race today. Already led 64 laps, and the close calls continue.
It looked like it was going to be a lot worse than it was. A.J. Hendrickson pulled to the inside of Ryan Reed. Looks like he was going to drive into his door. Made slight contact.
2 and 3 wide down the long straightaway here, the front stretch. Almost 4,000 feet long. We have seen a lot of 2 wide racing here at Pocono today. This is the first race since they have resurfaced this racetrack. We talked about close calls.
Looks like Ryan Reed was coming down the 66 of A.J. Hendrickson was going to try to get to the inside, just about make contact. I'm not even sure they did, but it was close.
Another look at it. There's a little contact.
Yeah, just a slight kiss, I think.
I'm sure if you ask anyone in this field, the one that likes the resurfaced track the most, Brendan Poole, out in front of Chad Hockenbraugh by 1.5 seconds.
But remember, he was good the first time here last year at the old surface.
A lot of changes being made. And right now, the beneficiary, the 25 of Brendan Poole. Stay with us. 11 laps of racing remain here at Pocono Raceway. Can the gap be closed between Brendan Poole and Chad Hockenbraugh?
Don't we have a battle for second now? Alex Bowman has continually made his car better. He has chased down Chad Hockenbraugh, lost a little bit of ground entering turn number 1 there, but Alex Bowman is as high up as he's been this entire race. He's had the fastest car in the racetrack 2 of the last 3 laps.
You know, Phil, I talked about maybe the happiest guy to see the resurfacing of this track would be Brendan Poole, but I think probably the proudest person might have been Doc Mattioli.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, the things that they have been able to do to this racetrack to make this racing so good. I think after we've lost Doc Mattioli last year, this is the first race since he's been gone.
Yeah, I know how proud he is of his grandsons, and to be looking down from heaven, and Nick and Brandon doing such a great job here with this facility.
And a spectacular job right now of racing for that 2nd spot. Chad Hockenbraugh trying to hold off the 22 of Alex Bowman. Jim.
Guys, in the middle portion of the race, Bowman was complaining the car was free everywhere. The car actually came to him. It started free, it became tight at the end, so what they did on lap 59, 4 tires, no changes. This car has come to life. Veteran crew chief Paul Andrews, crew chief Alan Kowicki to a win here in 1992. He very well may have a man on the podium or better than that here in the 22 car of Alex Bowman. In our rookie spotlight, that 19-year-old is cooking.
He certainly is. Started in the 7th spot, running 3rd, but maybe not for long, as he has closed the gap between he and Chad Hockenbraugh. Now it's a matter of time, but the laps are winding down. We're inside of 10 laps to go. This time by, it'll be 9 remaining in this race.
Looks like Alex Bowman cannot get in the corner as well as Chad Hockenbraugh does. Looks like he gains a little bit once they enter the corner, but he's a little bit off entering the corners.
One of the things I have to think has to be in the back of these guys' minds is the fact that we have had some tire issues, specifically with Kevin Swindell, and it's been the left front. And Phil, a veteran race car driver, obviously you've raced here before. There are rumble strips in some of these turns. Could those affect the wear of these left side tires as well?
Well, they could damage a tire certainly with some rumble strips. But you know, this racetrack has so much grip, you really don't have to use a rumble strip looking for grip. I think right now we've got Kevin Swindell, as we mentioned, has had it probably 3 times. I think Frank Kimmel would be concerned because he had a problem as well with that left front tire. But Brennan Poole has been flawless this race.
The race continues. Alex Bowman closing the gap. Look at the run he has on Chad Hockenbraugh as they go down the front stretch.
He's going to draft down into turn number 1. Let's see if Alex can get in the corner here as hard as Chad. Chad drives it hard. Drives about 2 car lengths harder than Alex does. But while Alex will make up that gap through the center of the corner and off.
Running a little bit shorter line around here, a little closer to that yellow line as they work through turn 1 down Long Pond straightaway and into the tunnel turn. Alex Bowman all over the back bumper of Chad Hockenbraugh for second. While this is going on, in front of them, Brennan Poole has a 2.5-second lead, looking for his second win of 2012.
Yeah, right now Chad Hockenbraugh has to be concerned with the 22 of Alex Bowman. Alex gets a good run through the center corner and off, trying to get a little bit of momentum so he can pull to the inside of Chad, get position on him as they enter turn number 1.
7 laps to go. Poole, Hockenbraugh, Bowman, Lofton, and Buescher your top 5. Then it's Frank Kimmel, Sean Corr, Justin Marks, A.J. Henriksen, and Ryan Reed your top 10.
Right here is where Alex Bowman is the best. You see him eases off the throttle a little bit getting in the corner and then really gets the momentum coming off the corner.
Trying to stay in the draft of that 58, Alex Bowman has gotten right up to the back bumper but hasn't been able to make a decisive move on Chad Hockenbraugh.
Alex is good through the tunnel turn. He gets in that corner just as hard as Chad does.
Through the short chute into turn number 3.
He loses a couple car lengths on the entry but tries to get it back, tries to get to the throttle sooner than Chad.
Coming out of turn number 3, we've seen them bumper to bumper. But then it's been the 58 of Chad Hockenbraugh who's been able to pull ahead. And when he gets into turn number 1, he has that 2-car length lead once again. While these two continue to battle for this second spot, Brennan Poole continues to increase his lead. It's over 3 seconds now between he and Hockenbraugh.
There's a gap right there, about a half a short straightaway from first back to second.
Just outside of the top 10, Tom Hessert, Williams, and Gallagher all on the lead lap. Those are the top 13 cars on the lead lap. Just 6 laps of racing to go. Hockenbraugh holding on to second, Ray.
Rick, remember, they made no adjustments on that last pit stop, and Chad saying his car getting a little bit tight off. They keep reminding him about a points day. Guys, look at our top 10 and look at the season-long points. Very, very similar there. Amazing how these same guys seem to rise to the top week in and week out. I think we've got 7 or 8 cars right now that are showing their championship form.
Yeah, you're talking about the big picture there. 20 races in the 2012 season for the ARCA Racing Series. Chad Hockenbraugh, Alex Bowman still continue to battle for that second spot. Bowman all over the back bumper of the 58. Looks out wide.
Alex is strong through the tunnel turn. Lost about a car length that time at the exit.
And now the slower lap traffic coming into play.
Oh, Alex went a little bit too wide there. Lost all his momentum.
Hockenbraugh pulling away. 4 laps of racing remain. A big gap now between the 58 and the 22. The top 3 separated by 3.5 seconds. Brennan Poole has a 3-second lead over Hockenbraugh. Sean Corr in the 82 on the outside of that 12. Justin Marks. They're battling for the 7th spot.
Yeah, Jared Marks able to grab that spot from Sean Corr. Moves Jared up to 7th. Great effort for his first ever super speedway start. Good run for Sean Corr as well. Good strong top 10. Been in the top 10 this entire race.
Riding along with Sean Corr as he makes his way through the turn.
Not out of the throttle very long there as he enters the tunnel turn.
Through the short chute and into turn 3. 3 laps of racing remain. 7.5 miles around Pocono Raceway. We've had 6 races to start the 2012 season and 6 different winners. But the most recent winner from Elko is Brennan Poole, and he is out front of Chad Hockenbaugh by 3.2 seconds.
That was a battle for the 9th spot, or the 8th spot. A.J. Hendrickson able to get by the 82 of Sean Corr.
Phil, what was the percentage that Ty Dillon was able to find victory lane in this series when he was running with his championship a year ago? Somewhere upwards of 50% of his races he was winning.
Well, 7 of 19. At one time it was 50%. He ended up winning 7 of the 19 events last year.
Brennan Poole, this just his 11th start, looking at potentially his 3rd career win. So trying to match the numbers that Ty Dillon set in his ARCA racing career.
And also trying to win that championship just like Ty Dillon did. This being Brennan Poole's first full-time season in the ARCA Racing Series.
Under 2 laps of racing to go, and he has run a flawless race. Their last pit stop, near perfection, as they were able to get Brennan Poole back out on the racetrack in front of the rest of the field. And now no lap traffic in front of that 25.
Right now all Brennan Poole is thinking is please no caution flags, because we will not finish under caution in the ARCA Racing Series.
Brennan Poole, we talked about how close he came as the white flag flies 1 year ago to winning this race.
Really had the dominant car, but we talked about the pit road miscue. Relegated him back to a 5th place finish, but no problems on pit road this race. No problems on the racetrack either.
Perfect through 1 on this final lap. Down Long Pond straightaway. Getting ready to enter the tunnel turn for the final time here at Pocono.
That we've talked about it, just about as flawless a race as a driver and a team can have.
Through the short chute and into turn number 3 for his final turn here at Pocono. The points leader coming out of turn number 3. He will be the first repeat winner of 2012. Brennan Poole wins at Pocono.
Here's that battle for second. Chad Hockenbaugh is going to hold off Alex Bowman in that battle for second.
Bowman comes home in 3rd spot. The race for 4th. Lofton, Busher, Kimmel, Marks, and Hendrickson.
Good recovery for Frank Kimmel coming from a lap down due to a left front tire issue, getting back to 6th.
And he's another one that's looking at another championship in the ARCA Racing Series. Another solid performance for Frank Kimmel. But solid's not what he's looking for. He almost has to look for near perfection as the arms go up for Billy Venturini, winning crew chief here for the 25 team.
There's Big Bill. Started out the day as the Grand Marshal for this event.
And now a celebratory owner. We talked about Venturini Motorsports fielding 5 cars for this race. And the 25 of Brennan Poole able to carry the banner for Venturini Motorsports, and he'll carry it all the way to victory lane.
Chad Hockenbaugh will equal his best career finish of 2nd, just knocking on the door of victory lane.
What they thought might be an issue, weather, held off and ended up being a perfect day for racing here at Pocono. He might have to win a couple more times to figure out the whole burnout thing. That's not bad right there. And maybe dented the rear quarter panel of that race car. when you get in the smoke, you just never know where the walls are. Let's hear from the winning crew chief. He's with Ray.
Well, they've already taken his radio away, but Billy wanted to pass along information to Brendan that that's their Michigan car. Take it easy, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Car was awesome. It was flawless all weekend. Unloaded top of the board by a bunch, sat on the pole, set a new track record, led just about everything today. 2 weeks in a row that we've dominated the race. Brendan and I have we've really connected, and he's a great kid and an amazing race car driver, and man, we got some momentum, and I think it's going to be, if we can just avoid any kind of bad luck, I think it's going to be pretty tough this year.
You talk about winning races. I know that's what's important for you guys, but a great day in the points race too.
We led the most laps set on the pole, maximum points today, maximum points last week. I mean, we're doing our job. Points will take care of themselves if we keep performing like this.
All right, congratulations. That's Billy Venturini off to victory lane. Win number 2 this year for Brendan Poole.
And Ray, good point to bring up. That's the first repeat winner in the 2012 season, and he's working on his celebration. That burnout out there. Father-son, they know how to celebrate. Oh, there's that kiss you talked about again. And welcome back to Pocono Raceway. Race just completed. Our coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Messina Wildlife Management. Stop animal damage with Messina Wildlife Management. And by Aaron's. You don't need credit. All you need is Aaron's. Celebration on the racetrack may be a little difficult for the 25 Brendan Poole, but the celebration in victory lane will be easy. Let's go to Jim Trado.
Indeed, the first thing he said as he crossed the finish line, great pit stops, buddy. This started a year ago. His nickname is the Bull. Billy Venturini took this team by the horns and said, we lost this race because of pit stops. They worked consistently on their pit stops, and it paid off today. Brendan, talk about how confident you were with this car all weekend and those pit stops that got you up front for the last time.
Yeah, I mean, Billy Venturini did an awesome job setting this thing up. All the guys back at the shop worked so hard on this thing, and I'm so proud of him, and I'm just so happy for him. Man, it's a dream come true. Last year we came up a little short because of the weather, and you know, we knew the Venturinis had a good setup for here, and we came back and we just tried to make the most of it, and the thing was just on a rail today. We tried to stay out front and keep that clean air, and we had awesome pit stops. Man, my guys are incredible. I can't thank them enough for getting us out there, and it made my job a lot easier. I just want to thank Etc., Joe Gibbs Racing Engines. I'm so proud to be a part of their family, and just can't thank them enough for supporting us and supporting the Venturini family, and you know, it helped us today, so I really appreciate their help. And Mallory, appreciate all their help, and Queen City K9, and Fit Human Resources.
First time with the Joe Gibbs engine. Any worries at all today? Looked like you had him covered on the racetrack, but when it came down to pit road, leaving that kind of thing, any worries for you? You're not that old. You haven't done this a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, Joe Gibbs is just such a great organization, and you know, I'm just proud to say that I'm driving a car that's powered by them. But man, I had a ton of power. My engine tuner Todd, can't thank him enough. He did everything he could, and you know, anytime you start something new, you always have little things you got to work through, and you know, he did his best he could this weekend and fought through it, and it was awesome. So I'm just proud to be a part of their family, proud to be a part of Venturini Motorsports, and man, can't wait to get to the next race.
We'll let you go celebrate. Good luck in Michigan as well.
Thank you.
Brendan Poole wins here, guys.
Third career win for Brendan Poole. Take a look at our unofficial results as the celebration continues in victory lane. Chad Hockenbraugh, a career best finish of second today.
Yeah, Alex Bowman had a good battle with Chad Hockenbraugh. Matt Lofton with a great top 5 run.
As you mentioned, Frank Kimball being able to rebound after being a lap down, finishes 6th in this one.
Tom Hessert came in here 2nd points, just outside the top 10 and 11th. Going to lose a little bit of ground to Brendan Poole.
Spencer Gallagher in 13th, the final car on the lead lap as we look back further through the field.
Hard hits there for Bobby Gerhardt, Michael Levine, George Cushman early on.
Alex Gregory finishes 33rd in this one, and he was involved in the incident before the green flag flew. Let's go back to pit road and Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. We're about 10 feet from victory lane, and I know, Chad, you've been awful close to getting there. Anything you could have done differently today to make that car just a bit better?
Tell you what, we kept loosening the car up and adjusting on it all day long. We kept making the good adjustments, and we were mirroring the 25's time, and you know, he did an awesome job. He was just flawless all day, and I can't thank the guys enough. They put together a heck of a car, and we came out here and got the fortunate to do the Hoosier tire test and to come out here and get a career best. I can't ask for much more other than have a full-time sponsor on board. But I can't thank PME Engines enough. They have great power, and we'll go on to Michigan and show them what we got. And just got to thank everybody. And we're thinking about Patrick and his family back at home. Sorry to hear about your father.
All right, thank you. That wishes we need to pass along from the crew, too, to Patrick Sheltra. Jim?
Third place, pretty good run for Alex Bowman. You complained a bit during the middle of the race, and your veteran crew chief said, race that car, and it came to you.
Yeah, definitely got to thank everybody at Cunningham Motorsports. Paul Andrews is the best in the business. We definitely showed that today. Just can't thank everybody enough. It's cool to have St. Jude's on board. We didn't have anybody on the hood. Unfortunately, we're out of funding after Michigan, so hopefully we get a sponsor to keep running. But just got to thank all the guys back at the shop, the Penske engine shop. We had pretty good horsepower. The new ARCA rules don't really play into our favor running the old style motor, but cards were played. So, just got to thank Kerry Shear, Briggs Cunningham, everybody for giving me this opportunity.
Off to Michigan for Alex Bowman, a very talented young man looking for some funding, guys.
Thanks, Jim. Take a look at our point standings. Again, after 7 races, Brennan Poole now has a 55-point lead over Chris Buescher.
Yeah, Tom Hessert actually drops from 2nd to 4th. Chad Hockenbraugh moves up into 3rd.
And we heard Chad Hockenbraugh reference Patrick Sheltra's father. Lost his life today, and so our condolences go out to the whole Sheltra family. Rick Sheltra, the 2010 champion owner when Patrick Sheltra was able to win the ARCA Racing Series championship. So an unfortunate day for that family.
Yeah, great family.
Today, the Rolex Sports Car Series slams into the Midwest. Mid-Ohio is a track that demands to be taken seriously. Here, no turn is safe and nothing comes easy. That's the Rolex Sports Car Series Mid-Ohio today, 4:30 Eastern, live on Speed. I believe this racing surface gets a big check mark as a very good pass today.
Yeah, absolutely an A+ for effort here for Big Dawskis and all the Mattiolis. What a terrific job they've done. I mean, we didn't talk a whole lot about it, but have a terrific pit road now, big pit stalls. Really did a nice job with this racetrack, and we saw some great side-by-side racing, saw some 3-wide racing. I know it's going to be good tomorrow.
3 and 4 wide racing, and once again, the incredible speeds that these cars are carrying down into turn number 1. We had a problem. Bobby Gerhardt had the throttle stick going into turn number 1. That's a scary situation. Think about it. The Cup cars, when they come on to this racetrack, they're upwards of 200 miles an hour going into turn 1.
Yeah, I think the numbers I heard were 212 miles an hour entering turn number 1.
Celebration continues for the young man who got his 3rd career win here today. Brennan Poole and Venerini Motorsports back in victory lane. It's the first repeat winner of 2012. And they're going to start celebrating at quite a few more racetracks, I'm sure, as they're figuring this out.
Yeah, we're going to be right back here on Speed next week with the ARCA Racing Series from Michigan.
And Michigan, another racetrack that's been resurfaced, and they're talking about the speeds on that racetrack. That's why they went with the tapered spacer for both this racetrack and Michigan. Great side-by-side racing. Elation for the 25 team. Brennan Poole is able to get to victory lane. For Jim Trado, Ray Dunlap, Phil Parsons, I'm Rick Allen saying thanks for joining us here in Pocono.